Hello and welcome back to the Lumpy Cam. So this engine came in and it had about 2 hours on it. So the other person that worked on it and put it together apparently forgot to tighten up the oil pump bolt and or forgot to put Loctite thread lock on it. So it never made it off the engine run stand. So now here it is to be rebuilt again. So this engine is a 454 big block. I've since sent it back to my machine shop this time. I had new cam bearings put in it. Even though the old ones didn't look bad, since metal went through it, they're gone. So new cam bearings, aligned, honed, had him go over the cylinders again. He checked them, they're fine, but he still ran a ball hone through them. Decked the head surface, it was actually off, so he redid those. So we've got the block back. The heads have been checked, they are good. So those are 049 heads, so they flow, they're the high flow heads. It's already got a new Holley 850 CFM carb. It's got a new Edelbrock intake. It's got a Pertronix flamethrower ignition that's going to go in it. It's got new valve covers. It's got new 8mm ignition wires. We had to have the crankshaft, even though it was a brand new Eagle crank, it had to get ground 1010, which is a shame because it was a brand new crank, but we got to make sure it's good. So other parts that are still good, which is I'll just kind of go through them here real quick. New timing cover. The timing cover set's still good. Again, this engine only has 2 hours on it. But we're replacing all the bearings. We have new Molle bearings. Excuse me. We're going to be using Lucas Assembly lube. We're going to come back to this in just a second, but it will get a new comp cam in it. Pistons are all good. Of course, they'll get all new bearings. Water pump down at the end, which is good. The damper's good. Everything else is good. Everything else is checked out. The comp cam, though, we're of course are putting a new cam in it because the other one got taken out. Along with, and I'm actually going to run right over here real quick. Along with new lifters that have been soaking in oil. So they're all going to be good. The thing to note about lifters, these are hydraulic flat tappets. So some people say when you soak these in oil that you should push them down to get all the bubbles out. Other people say you should not do that. It's a matter of preference. One way they say will force, it's too much pressure for an initial startup. It needs to be able to break in and flow oil all on its own. Other people are like, nope, it's got to have oil in there because you don't want to run it dry. I'm not telling you which way I went. I'm just going to say at the very least, you have to soak them in oil. Whether you decide to push the plunger in and push all the air out and soak the oil back up is your preference. I'm just saying they have to be soaked in oil first. That's all I'll say about that. So on this cam, you can do a standard cam. This is a 274-286 intake exhaust with a 5 thousandths lift. This is also a 4/7 swap cam. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically it's swapping the number 4 and number 7 ignition wire to run opposite. So you have GM's standard 1854, whatever the timing order is, but you swap 4/7. I don't know if it'll zoom in on that or not. But that's the part number for this one. Well, this camera doesn't zoom very well. I apologize for that. But it's a 1165047, and the 47 indicates that it's a 4/7 swap. So that's the cam that's going to be going into it. I'm going to splice this video together because I'm going to be doing things not in order. But just to start off with, I personally believe that you should always put the cam in first. And the reason for that is this. Your cam bearings are not all the same size. They go in a very specific order. And while I've been using my machine shop for a long time, everybody makes mistakes. So if he were to put the wrong bearing in, see if that'll hold out of the way, I'll try to get a shot right down there, but if he were to put the wrong bearing in any one of those spots, that cam will not work. It won't even, I mean, it'll go in, but it'll bind right up, and you would know that. So since that mistake is common, it happens, right? I always put my cam in first. Before I put my crank in, before I do anything else, I put the cam in first and make sure that it's correct. Because if I put everything else on, anything else on before the cam goes in, and then I put the cam in and it's wrong, I have to take everything else off. So that's my starting point and the reasoning behind it. You can do what you want. Anyway, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to get the camera set up. I'm going to get the cam out. I'm going to lube it up, and then we'll start from there. Thanks for watching.